Hello and welcome to My Finance Teacher on YouTube. Today is 18th of April 2017. Let's have a look at gold again. In front of you is a daily chart of gold, and over the last few days gold has broken a resistance level created by this down trend line from the previous half-a-year gold cycle lasting from the middle of last year until December last year. So we've broken this, gold has broken this downward trend line and the resistance level created by this downward trend line. There is, however, another resistance level not far from where the price is at the moment. This other resistance level is at the price levels of around 1308. However, gold has not been performing very well over the last couple of days. The highest we've seen since December last year was around 1290 on the gold price chart, and at the moment the gold is around 1285. So that's one of the indications, I think, that point to a weakness in the gold price and that point to a possible declining phase of this half-a-year cycle in gold starting pretty soon. Another indication of that is this relative strength index, which is overbought and has reached levels higher than we have ever seen since December last year. Now, as I mentioned, one of the indications of the weakness in gold price is that it has not been performing well over the last couple of days, even though the dollar, this is the daily chart of the dollar index, has not been performing well either. Generally, US dollar and gold perform in opposite directions. However, over the last few days, both dollar and gold have not been performing well, which is an additional pointer to a weakness in gold. Now, for that reason, I don't think gold is going to break this next resistance level, which is slightly higher than 1300, and we might start our decline relatively soon. We might have already started this decline yesterday. Now, what are the possibilities for the path that the gold price can take over the next several weeks? Well, on this daily chart, even going back to this point in the middle of last year, it seems that there is a support zone around the price level of 1250. So over the next couple of weeks, the price might retreat to that price level, to that support level, bounce up, and continue the declining phase of this half-a-year gold cycle. However, a stronger support zone seems to be formed around the 1200 price level. So another possibility for the path that the gold might take over the next several weeks is that we're going down until 1200 over the next several weeks, bounce up from that as it is a support level, and we will be additionally, by then we will probably be in the time band for this short-term cycle to finish and the new short-term cycle to start. Short-term cycles that sit within the half-year cycles of gold. So another possibility for the gold price is to retreat to this stronger support zone around 1200, bounce up for a couple of weeks, and continue the declining phase of this half-a-year cycle in gold, which will probably finish near the middle of summer or in the first half of summer. Now, looking at longer term charts, this is a weekly chart of gold. I think that gold is now trying to consolidate within this triangle pattern formed by the declining trend from the previous half-year gold cycle on the upper side, on the upper boundary of this triangle, and the lower boundary of this triangle is formed by connecting the previous two cycle lows. Now I think the gold has done going down since around 2011. As we see, since then gold has been only moving down generally. However, for more than a year, for nearly a year and a half, we have not seen the price levels that we saw in December 2015 around 1070, which adds to the probability that we will not come back to those price levels the longer we stay away from them. So that tends to indicate that this decline, long-term decline in the gold price, has finished, and that relates to our long-term perspective on gold, supported by the perspective on the US dollar index. You will see the link to that video at the top of the screen at the moment. Now, given that we probably are not going to see any lower lows compared to December 2015, and given that we probably have started a new really long-term cycle in gold, and we're almost ready to rocket launch, I think gold is at the moment gathering some force for that, gathering some momentum and gathering some sentiment for investors to really start believing in this precious metal. And that gathering of the force is done within this triangle consolidation phase. Now, given that expectation, what we see happening to gold over the next several weeks is it will probably decline, and on this weekly chart we see that the 1200 support zone is more visible rather than a 1250 support zone, which is not really visible on this weekly chart, which leads me to believe that this path for gold price, where it declines all the way down to 1200 rather than to 1250 before a considerable bounce, is more likely. So within this declining phase, gold will probably decline to that support zone, bounce back up to this upper boundary of this triangle phase, of this triangle pattern, then continue its declining phase into midsummer, where it hits the lower boundary of this triangle pattern, and we are not going to see, most likely we are not going to see prices as low as we saw in December last year and of course December 2015. And after that, I think, as more and more investors realize that this really long-term declining phase has finished and gold in the longer term is now trending upwards, as more investors realize that and jump onto this train, gold will be ready to move considerably higher after that, probably in the second half of this year. Remember, this is not investment advice. However, I do wish you luck, and I would appreciate any comments that you leave, as well as the likes that you indicate to this video. Thank you for your attention, and good luck.